All right, we're good to go.
Thank you very much. That was our helpful Jaden Hewitt there in production, and I see Enroy is with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, and we're just about complete with the preliminary rounds of the National Tourism Debate. We are at match 7 this afternoon, and we have with us our 2021 champions, Belair High, who will be competing against Dinthill Technical. I think Dinthill is with us for the very first time. How will they do? Well, we will find out in just a few. We want to take this opportunity to congratulate our sponsors who made it possible, to whom we are truly grateful. The Tourism Enhancement Fund, Deja All Inclusive, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association, Royalton Luxury Resort, Choco Caribbean, Coral Cliff Gaming Lounge, Pier 1 Bar and Restaurant, Margaritaville Group, Origin Juices, and Starbucks Jamaica. The 2022 National Tourism Debate is endorsed by the GHTA and the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce. Our adjudicators this afternoon, Miss Stacey Ann Williams, attorney at law, who will be acting as our chief judge this afternoon, Mrs. Nadine Spence, Region Chapter Chairperson from the GHTA Montego Bay Chapter, Miss Melissa Terry, Group's Foundation Manager, Choco Caribbean. Let's have a round of applause. For a moot this afternoon, this House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. Proposing the moot is Belair High, and opposing the moot is Dinthill Technical. Our speakers are Belair High, Janoya Haynes, Chisholm Pagadag, and Adrian Denton. Dinthill Technical, Michaela Burrell, Shadrick Thompson, and Andre Chambers. The first speaker is allowed 7 minutes, second speaker 5 minutes, and third speaker 3 minutes, followed by a rebuttal, which will begin with the opposing team. The match will begin with our proposing team, Belair High. We will now proceed with our 7th match in the 2022 preliminary rounds of the National Tourism Debate Competition. May we have a spotlight, please, on our first speaker, Belair High. You may begin. Is this Ms. Haynes? You may begin.
Judges, opponents, audience, good afternoon. Today we rise to propose the motion. This House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. As Prime Minister, I will focus on what makes Jamaican patois so viable and why the tourism sector not tapping into this product has set tourism back. The Deputy Prime Minister will reveal how we can teach patois and actively market it in order to move Jamaica's tourism forward. Finally, the government member will share on the idea that it's time we brand Jamaica beyond sand, sea, and sun. Before I dive in, let me define a few key terms. Oxford Online Dictionary defines the term lack of as the absence of or not having enough of something. Teaching, according to the same source, means engaging with learners to help them comprehend and apply knowledge, concepts, and procedures. Business Concepts and Terms defines active marketing as a marketer taking proactive steps to engage and connect with potential clients. Island Delights defines patois language as a West African influenced Creole language with an English-based Creole that is largely spoken in Jamaica. Dictionary.com defines tourism as the promotion of visitor travel, especially for commercial purposes. And setback, according to the same source, means something that keeps you from gaining ground. The motion restated the absence of engaging and taking proactive steps to connect with potential clients to apply the knowledge of our English-based Creole has hindered the process for further growth for the sector that provides opportunity for people to visit our island for commercial purposes. Judges, a tourist's first point of contact is our language, and they love our patois. What if proud brand ambassadors using our patois greet tourists who enter our airports? These airport personnel will also be able to skillfully translate this patois into standard English so our visitors can understand what is being communicated, similar to what exists in Spanish-speaking territories. We want individuals who are not ashamed of our language, our mother tongue. The Jamaica Gleaner writer Hugh Johnson shared in an article titled Brand Jamaica, Beyond Sun, Sand and Sea, that the prevailing construct of Jamaica's national brand is itself ideologically flawed, based on opinions of what makes Jamaica, Jamaica. For years, we have sold Jamaica as a destination with beautiful beaches. But what if there is a road not taken? And this has set back Jamaica's tourism. Jamaican actress, screenwriter, and behavior change specialist Delia Harris shared that Jamaicans are still not recognizing the importance of the Jamaican language or patois. Today, we believe the tourism sector has also not recognized its importance either. Many people around the world are marketing our brand language, and we are playing catch up as people earn millions from second-rate YouTube videos promoting the Jamaican patois. London-based Tolga Akai, a film director, started a blog where he promotes the Jamaican language. He intends to make an anime using Jamaican actors or voice. This young man started all this in March 2022, and to date, he has 63,000 followers, have over 2 million views. Not at this moment. We all know how persons get paid via online platforms. So opponents, you can assume how much money he has made and will make in a few years if he remains consistent. What if the tourism sector taps into this brand in a targeted and deliberate way and sell our patois? Imagine the rewards. We certainly would realize how much the tourism sector was set back as a result of us not teaching and actively marketing patois sooner. You had a point of information?
You say this issue of not marketing is the biggest setback. Do you agree that there is the other extenuating factors like the current mindset regarding patois usage in the business space?
Can you please repeat?
You say this issue of not marketing is the biggest setback. Do you agree that there are other extenuating factors like the current mindset regarding patois usage in the business space?
No, and my second speaker will get into that soon, so please wait patiently. The Ministry of Tourism website in 2013 under the heading Current Tourism Focus revealed that the Ministry of Tourism believes that the industry's vast potential for further growth lies in placing greater emphasis on product diversification. Thus, they added other brands to the tourism product in 2013. Therefore, the tourism sector as a growing organization must continue to seek new opportunities for economic growth, and our patois is the greatest opportunity that has been missed for decades. We cannot say we are doing well and settle when greater opportunities are out there. Hume Johnson, Gleaner writer, also says, single stories not only flatten one's experience of that place, but also overlook multiple other stories that help to form that place and people. This distancing of modern Jamaica from its history and culture is problematic for brand Jamaica. Beachesresorts.com on its blog site posted, Jamaica is known to be the birthplace of reggae, Bob Marley, world's fastest sprinters, Blue Mountain coffee, beautiful beaches, jerk dishes, luxurious all-inclusive resorts, and majestic waterfalls. This has been our tourism product for years. We added brand Bob Marley and brand Usain Bolt to our products and are reaping millions. Our patois is primed to reap those millions too if we recognize the many byproducts of this brand. Job opportunities, cultural entertainment, books, investments, and the list goes on. If we market and teach patois, then those who come to Jamaica will want to attend patois classes, attend pantomime, and visit areas where they will be immersed in the language, similar to them visiting tourist attractions. Mrs. Tanika Morgan, country director for Projects Abroad Jamaica, shared in an interview that volunteers who come into the island from all over the world, request patois classes, and are willing to pay up to 4,000 Jamaican dollars per 45-minute sessions for patois lessons so they can experience Jamaica's language as part of their experience. Many of them need this knowledge as they interact with locals at their placements and as they travel the island. TravelPulse.com article titled "The Blended Gastronomy and Unique Dialects of Jamaica" revealed when Jamaicans were negotiating their independence from England 1960s, the upper classes disapproved of the local dialects as the language of the poor and uneducated. The opposition may speak to the stigma of the language, the lack of understanding for the tourists, among other seemingly bad, but this is where teaching and active marketing comes into play. Our patois, with its unique style of expression and appeal, can make Jamaica stand out from the rest. Judges, let us rebrand Jamaica. Edward Love Foundation, in an article titled "How to Expand Your Business Through New Product Development," states that adding new products or services to your current offerings can serve as the catalyst that drives your business to higher levels of success. Our language is our brand, and since we should always seek out new opportunities to expand our tourism products, we say the lack of this happening is the tourism's biggest setback. With this, the proposition pauses.
Thank you very much. We will now spotlight Dinthill Technical. First speaker, Michaela Burrell. Michaela, you may begin when you're ready.
Adjudicators, esteemed guests, chairman, timekeeper, and members of the opposing team, please accept my salutations. The proposition believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of patois is the tourism sector's biggest setback. How laughable is that? We, the opposition, undoubtedly oppose this motion. My opponents, how do you intend to market patois when there is no market for it? Is patois in demand? And if so, is it more in demand than our white sands and beaches and beautiful people? I will placate you for a bit, my opponent, but first, answer just a few questions. Do you plan to also teach patois? Is that, if so, I wonder which writing system you would use. And is this writing system gasted and sanctioned by the media, politics, and lawmakers? My opponents, I see you like taking up tasks that are above your pay grade. To engage in an intellectual reasoning, let me first define some key terms, rephrase the mood, and outline our stance on this issue in order to support our argument. As the first speaker of the opposing team, I will most certainly emphasize on the influence of crime and violence on the tourism sector. The Minister of Tourism calling for the fostering of a second language among those in the tourism industry that will help them better serve visitors, which might I add is not patois. 3, the different areas in the tourism sector which may be in need of development. My second speaker will focus on the crippling effects of crime and violence on the sector, that outdated infrastructure design, and our land make it out alive, treacherous and winding roads, in addition to the constant misuse of natural resources and for personal gain. My third speaker will use logic and sound reasoning to further develop our points. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word setback can be defined as something that happens that delays or prevents a process from developing. Ask yourself, my opponent, is this so-called setback where teaching and active marketing of the patois is supposedly lacking truly the biggest setback in the tourism economy? The second term, active marketing, is defined by serial marketer and entrepreneur Alan Dibb as proactive action on the part of the marketer to connect and engage with potential customers in order to build relationships and trust and to create a following. Who is our target audience for this active marketing and teaching? Is it our locals who are forced to rid themselves of their Jamaican vernacular in order to land a job in this space? Or the millions of yearly visitors who visit yearly that do not spend enough time on the island to learn more than the phrase wagwan or everything irie? Thirdly, the term teaching refers to the idea or principles taught by an authority. What idea and principle are you trying to impart? Patois, the dialect of a particular region, especially one with low status in relation to the language situation of a country. In this case, the Jamaican Patois refers to Jamaican Creole. Will we do anything about the current convert status of our supposed mother tongue? Will this change finally offer prestige? Now, my opponents, behold our redefinition of this need. The House believes that the lack of teaching and marketing of patois is merely a smokescreen far, far from debilitating setbacks that plague the tourism industry. My opponents, let us reason. Patois is a colloquial language, meaning it is used in ordinary or familiar conversations, not formal or literary settings. My opponents, how can patois be a setback in the tourism industry in a country that neither appreciates or acknowledges it as a language? In an interview with JIS, which was posted August 17, 2018, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartley explained that it's important for hospitality workers to own their skills at communicating with our neighbors, since it is geographically located adjacent to Latin America. Communicating, my opponent, this means that the minister does not believe that we speak our mother tongue when we are communicating. I guess he too holds that patois is inferior and hence should be tucked inside a corner or under a bed, as Jamaican folks are accustomed to doing so when visitors come to our homes. And we do not want them to see our unsightly things lying around. The language our patois is being put in hiding is Spanish, as most of our country's tourism partners originate from Spanish-speaking countries. How disgraceful is this? Please take note that the minister never once mentioned patois or how it can be improved. My opponents, there is no news media or articles that can be found to support the idea that patois has contributed to decline in tourism, not unless you plan to fabricate one, will you? So instead of focusing on patois and considering it to be a hindrance to the tourism industry, we should call attention to other aspects of the tourism sector that threatens its existence and thriving potential, such as crime and violence, which is a bigger deterrent to tourism than members of the sector not being vocal enough in their native tongue, which of course are not to be blamed for. With a homicide rate of 43.85 per thousand people, Jamaica ranked on the ranked second on the list of countries with the highest murder rates worldwide. Bear in mind the recent spat with the attacks on the Chinese. On the other act of crime and violence to deter, another act of crime and violence to deter our well thought after tourists. I'd like to add that tourists do experience patois in its raw form when they interact with the locals, and it is an authentic experience most see. Essentially, it stays authentic when it is not commercialized. Tourists want that authenticity. Allow me now to focus on the final nail in the coffin. Patois, as I have said, my opponents, is a colloquial language, a language of people, if you will. The same people, my opponents, who are discouraged from childhood from embracing their mother tongue. The Jamaican Creole has low prestige in this country. It is severely stigmatized as a broken language. You embrace it as the greatest issue. The solution for which you embrace it as the greatest issue. The solution for which you below teach it, market it, that will fix the tourism economy. My opponents, it is not your fault that you suffer to this extent from delusion delusions of grandeur. This is a result of the conditioned mindset to create silly excuses for issues, smoke screens for bigger problems. Shall we unpack the deep-seated issue of the shame that has been shed in colonial vestige? Gowon's Cassidy, a Jamaican linguistics, in his active years created a language body for Jamaican patois that long after his creation, the most we have to show for it is the Bible that is still not found itself commonplace in Jamaican homes, like the King James Version. Shame, my opponent, for the language is what is being stifled to success of stifling the success of the sector. Remember, I said, let us reason. If the minister is having a problem with patois, they will not market it. They will not teach it. They will not embrace it. Therefore, it will not be passed on as an authentic sound and with freedom with ourselves, our people, especially ones in those authorities of colonial shape of our language. Thank you. The opposition.
Thank you, both speakers. Just a reminder of what our motion is this afternoon. This House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of Pato language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. Our adjudicators this afternoon, Ms. Stacey Ann Williams, Attorney at Law, Chief Judge, Mrs. Nadine Spence, Region Chapter Chairperson for Montego Bay Chapter, the JHTA, and Ms. Melissa Terry, Groups Foundation Manager from Chaka Caribbean. We will now spotlight Belair High and invite their second speaker to begin.
Opposition, you repeatedly mentioned that crime and violence is a bigger setback than the lack of teaching and active marketing of the patois language. May I remind you that in the year 2005, when Jamaica's crime and violence rates were at the highest, during that same year, the tourist arrivals of Jamaica remained the same. The rates of tourist arrivals in Jamaica remained the same, and as the year progressed, it increased. Therefore, do you really think that crime and violence is a bigger setback than the lack of teaching and active marketing? Judges, opponents, audience, a pleasant afternoon to you all. I stand as Deputy Prime Minister to further propose the motion. This House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of the patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. My Prime Minister has laid a solid foundation as to the gold mine our language possesses, and I will do further to establish how we can harvest more for tourism through teaching and active marketing. Judges, let us look at teaching from two standpoints, teaching locals and tourists alike. The Jamaican patois is not our standard language. So in schools, children are barely being taught that they are really bilingual. They are told their language is bad talk and they should speak properly. Absolutely no way can we have this mindset and expect our language to be the catalyst for further growth for tourism. English has to be taught as a second language from primary into secondary schools to break this stigma. Caribbean Partners for Educational Progress shared in EduFocus number 8 that few Jamaicans will challenge the fact that we are really a bilingual society. But the concern for many years has been whether our local patois is actually a language. By teaching, we'll be able to help students and society to understand that patois meets all the prerequisites for a language. With this, students will appreciate this gold mine, and as they transcend to become hotel workers, tourist guides, craft vendors, among other workers in the tourism sector, they'll be able to code switch or translate words when interacting with tourists, and not just twang to communicate. They will have language pride and the knowledge of how to sell this unique brand to our visitors. This will appeal in a greater way to tourists than the twang they are used to, from locals to the last persons they see. The Honorable Louise Bennett-Coverley must be turning in her grave, as she helped to cement patois as an established and commonplace language of our nation and on the world stage. Reggae music has also helped to do this. Drum and reggae singer Gentleman explains to the Jamaican Gleaner that most of his grasp of the language came through his exposure to reggae, and he simply gravitated to it. When you love something, the learning happens automatically. Our language is loved by so many, and we are doing nothing about it. Opponents, when we go on Travel Pulse or other websites that sell Jamaica's tourism products, like our hotels, food, beaches, and so on, the offerings are appealing, exciting, and engaging. However, there is nothing about our language except for a few phrases here and there. The Jamaican government, through its tourism agency, has engaged in a sophisticated campaign of branding the country as merely a tourism destination. Active marketing means more than just sharing a few words and phrases on web pages. When we market, we will deliberately put content on social media, tourism websites, and other sites, similar to how we expose tourists to our beaches and hotels. We will have linguists and other patois language enthusiasts create content for tourists even before they come here. Create a space for the right kind of patois, the authentic kind. Active marketing would also see books and other learning material being made available online for tourists before and after they enter Jamaica. Judges, we are advanced in the way of technology, so through the tourism ministry, we could have software for the translation of patois. These could be accessible on the Play Store for downloading. When tourists get here, they would have access to souvenirs with patois words and phrases. Brochures will be in hotel rooms advertising patois class and other sessions. Culture night with an emphasis on speaking and hearing patois. It may be through poetry or storytelling. All this will become a product offering. Judges, the tourism sector is missing out on all this growth because these things are not being done. We know revenue will and can be gained through all mentioned above. With proper marketing, the authentic patois will be out there and people would spend to gain access to learning and reveling in the beauty of patois language. We know tourists will return because our offerings are diverse and different from the rest. Returning means more revenue. Most Caribbean islands have sand, sea, attractions, lovely beaches, and so on. So by adding our unique language to our product offering, we will stand out from the rest. The government believes that because we are not teaching and actively marketing the Jamaican patois, the tourism sector is yet to reach its fullest potential. And with this, the proposition pauses.
And pause indeed. They will. Both very, very good, well-researched arguments by Belair High and Dinthill Technical. We will now spotlight Dinthill Technical's second speaker, Chadwick Thompson. Mr. Thompson, you may begin.
All right. Good day, adjudicators. Good day, adjudicators, observers, and members of my team. Fellow opponents, I greet you as well. Patois, the mother tongue of Jamaica, is but one of many cords binding Jamaicans to our African ancestors. If I want to go for patois, it'll make people know me. Ask any foreigner what they know about Jamaica or what makes Jamaicans easily distinguishable, apart from the food and music, of course, they will be sure to say the beautiful language of the people. Patois truly is something special to us as a nation, but to say that the lack of teaching and active marketing of patois is tourism sector's biggest setback would be totally undermining a bigger issue at hand. Let us wake up and smell some Blue Mountain coffee, my opponents. Jamaica have bigger fish fry. Let us face the facts. Now, while the lack of teaching and marketing patois in the tourism sector is a problem, we have other issues that have a far greater toehold on our tourism industry. It is most definitely not the biggest setback we face. My first speaker spoke about the issue of crime and violence, a more debilitating condition the nation endures constantly. Allow me now to further outline more pressing issues that, if measured side by side, prove infinitesimal than patois not being taught or marketed. Is the issue of our nation's lack of infrastructural development and misuse of natural resources, my opponent, not greater in damages and setback? Or are you okay with second-class standards and overexploitation of Mother Earth? My opponents, it is simply preposterous to think that tourists usually expect facilities in their chosen destination to be comparable to what they enjoy at home. No. Therefore, good infrastructure in our destination poses demand for its products, in this case, patois. Product patois is surely insignificant when compared to good infrastructure, which is to lure tourists here to the market. According to the Border Project Organization 2021, the physical infrastructure in Jamaica consists of an aging network of roads spanning nearly 19,000 kilometers. Several issues are prevalent with these roads, as they are too narrow for large quantities of traffic and are also misaligned. Most of the road infrastructure in Jamaica was developed in the 1990s. Two of Jamaica's largest economic sectors, tourism and the transport of goods, rely on this inefficient and often dangerous road network. The condition of roads in Jamaica has led to increased traffic congestion, accidents, and rising travel costs. The organization also posits that with a population of 2.7 million, infrastructure in Jamaica fails to meet modern engineering standards for road quality and safety. Now, before you bore us with highway this and highway that, the hidden gems found in St. Thomas and Portland can only be reached by winding, narrow roads. Notice I said my opponents, hidden gems, as these are often cocooned away because tourists are not too gung-ho on traversing these treacherous terrains. Once again, my opponents, poor infrastructure is a debilitating factor, crippling tourism and its earnings. My opponents, what we are saying is that in order for tourists to enjoy somewhere other than the North Coast, they have to endure treacherous roads, becoming witnesses to a possible Guinness record for the most potholes per mile. Or even worse, the tour bus survived a near miss collision with large trucks that also have to share the narrow roads. The issue is not with patois not being marketed by opponents. It lies in poor infrastructure. I know that you've got us started, misuse of resources. Now for the misuse of resources by adversaries. Ask yourselves, where do sand heaps come from to construct the proverbial house on the hill, even the hotels on the beach that pepper the Jamaican coastline? We'll tell you, Jamaica's riverbeds. Residents of Harborview know this reality all too well, as the hope of burst its banks yearly to flood the community. The water, most of the time unclean and unsanitary, stays for some time, to the dismay of the residents. This stagnant water also seeps into the poorly constructed roads, causing holes in the road as well as breakaways. This is a reality for many other riverbeds and surrounding areas. Patois not being marketed cannot be the biggest issue, my opponents. Not unless you like, many other Jamaicans, like to point fingers, while the bigger finger is pointing back at you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We heard from Belair High, first speaker Janoya Haynes, and Chisholm Agadag, and Dinthill Technical Malika Burrell and Shepard Thompson. We would like to thank our sponsors, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Deja All-Inclusive Resort, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, Royalton Luxury Resort, Chukka Caribbean, Cora Cliff Gaming Lounge, Pier 1 Bar and Restaurants, Margaritaville Group, Origin Juices, and Starbucks Jamaica. We will now spotlight our speakers from Belair High and invite our third speaker, final speaker before the rebuttal, Adrian Dinthill.
Does the tourism areas have infrastructural issues? No, they don't. Judges, opponents, audience, good afternoon. I stand to further propose the move. This House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of the patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. My Prime Minister spoke to what makes the Jamaican patois so viable and why the tourism sector not tapping into this product has set tourism back. The Deputy Prime Minister revealed how we can teach patois and actively market it in order to move Jamaica's tourism forward. Finally, as a government member, I will share on the fact that it's time we brand Jamaica beyond sunset and sand. Judges, there is something about our language that sells. So many byproducts can be created if we brand patois. We sell everything through our tourism product. So why don't we sell our patois? It is sellable. Patois is as Jamaican as our beaches, or sunshine, and or jerk chicken. Not tapping into this reservoir, which our language is a mistake. An analysis of seven major Jamaican tourism marketing and promotion ad campaigns since 1960 to present revealed a marketing focus largely on the aesthetics and recreational aspects of Jamaica. For 62 years, we have been selling the same thing to tourists. Are we afraid? Or are we still stuck in a mental humdrum that our language has no value? A king, as they say, has no glory in his own country. Opponents, have you ever met a tourist who has not tried to speak Patois to you the moment they realize you're Jamaican? An article titled The Evolution of Jamaican Patois states that the Jamaican Patois has risen in popularity because legends like Bob Marley and Shaggy has taken our music to all corners of the world. Now, Patois has been formalized and is taught in linguistic programs at a handful of tertiary institutions. We are setting ourselves back by not capitalizing on the rich resource of our Patois. As we would say in Patois, you have go spoon in your mouth and spit it out. In a Patois vlog hosted by Anna K. Howard, who has 6,720 followers and over 1 million views, revealed that more than 85% of individuals want to learn more Patois. Several persons indicated they could not wait to visit the island after watching her videos. A German singer wanted to learn Patois because he wanted to be a part of a reggae band, and so he paid for 60 hours of Patois class. What if the tourism sector had a structured program for others like him? The University of the West Indies has a program where linguistic students or graduates are paid close to $1 million to teach the Jamaican Creole to foreigners. There are great opportunities if we have our language as one of our major tourism brands. Opponents, not at this time. The opponents, the tourism sector has been set back for 62 long years. It's time we expand. And with that, the proposition rests.
Exciting match indeed. Will they rest? Well, we will know. We are at match number 7, the final one before we close off the preliminary round. And congratulations to Belair High and Dinthill Technical. Both coaches did very well and the students are very prepared. So we will now move over to Dinthill Technical for their third speaker before the rebuttals.
Good morning, good evening, everyone.
Please go ahead, sir.
Before I start my speech, we admire your efforts to try save yourself, suggesting that tourists still come here regardless of crime and violence. My opponents, come now. Do you not see the greater incentive, like an inexpensive trip on the back of the sliding darkest, thus suggesting again my opponents? I'd like to extend my greeting to all present. Without further ado, let me begin. My opponents, you are admiredly determined to flag the moot point that Patois is the tourism sector biggest setback, but my colleagues have not failed in expounding on greater concerns. Crime and violence, as stated by our first speaker, is a major deciding factor that determines whether a tourist braves the journey to Jamaica to help us reap the benefits of a sliding dollar. Poor infrastructures, mentioned by my second speaker, dated and woefully lacking standards for engineering, as well as the exploitation of our riverbeds that disturb the natural resources by those who impinge on our land and water for our hierarchical status. Teaching, the exploration of ideas and the principles are a smaller issue compared to the negative mindset the nation's authorities, movers and shakers of the country, Jamaica, have regarding Patois. The written model of Patois has sat idle for years. Why is that? Ask yourself this, my opponents. We cannot market a language system that a nation hypocritically lauds as expensive and unique, but is too ashamed of in the local tourism workforce, and international space. The tarmac that is brand of Jamaica, the tarmac that is brand Jamaica is not clear enough for a plain patois to take off. Fixing the mindset of patois as a national language that is still seen as covert needs to be addressed before we try to speak to anyone else. Only after dancing a yard can we dance abroad, not a second before. That's what's preventing us from dancing, you might ask. When I'm hungry again, you have a similar 9 mentality. My opponent, 1 + 1 will always equal 2. So remove crime and violence and tourism. We'll see a massive boost. Remove poor roads and infrastructure, and more tourists will come to our shores. And finally, remove shame and the colonial shackles from our minds, and everything will be airy. Yeah, man. My opposition is this.
Let's have a round of applause. I certainly enjoy that. Yeah, man, I enjoy that. Okay, we will now pause. I think Jaden will entertain us for a while our 2 schools prepare their rebuttals. Good job indeed. And we want to thank our adjudicators this afternoon for taking the time out. We know it's Christmas and they probably have some shopping and some other things to do. And that is Miss Stacey Ann Williams, attorney at law, who is now sitting in as our chief judge. This is Nadine Spence, representing the GHTA, Montego Bay Region Chapter Chairperson, and Miss Melissa Terry, Brooks Foundation Manager from Trucker Caribbean, who's also a sponsor of the National Tourism Debate Competition. Let's take a short break and we will return with the rebuttal section. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we should be ready in another 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Okay, we are about ready. Welcome back. Are our judges ready? A cue from our judges.
Ready.
All right, and welcome back. We are at the rebuttals section. And just a reminder, the first speaker is allowed 7 minutes, second speaker 5 minutes, and third speaker 3 minutes for the first part of the competition. And then the rebuttal is 3 minutes. The rebuttal is full scores. So we ask the teams to pay attention to the arguments. The match will begin, or the match began with our proposing team, sorry. We will now resume with our rebuttals, and we will start with the opposing team, Dinthill Technical, followed by the proposing team, Belair High. Can we have a spotlight on Dinthill Technical, please?
Good afternoon, am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you may begin with your rebuttal.
Okay. Now, it is my greatest hope that you will upset your stance on the moves and come to the conclusion that it is asinine to stand behind. Do not be dismayed by our line of arguments that we have peppered you with. Instead, just like Paul, besiege the Philippines, I implore you, brethren, think on these things. Think on the fact that there are greater things at play that act as a setback in the economy. Like my first speaker said, crime and violence. My speech continued poor level of infrastructure as being a reason also. Your second speaker mentioned universities which can teach tourists how to speak patois. It is not hypocritical to claim that there is not enough being done to market patois when we have never made it wholly a part of the tourism packages. Just a few patois words interspersed here and there, all while having standard English as the standard. If it is not gazetted, the government does not sanction it or hold it as prestigious. We are the ones shooting ourselves in the leg. My opponents, do not play the blame game while siding with the authorities in pointing fingers. The blame game will not work. Instead of just like, why not cut it off, as the good book says? Cut off crime, cut off poor infrastructure, and of course, doctor the deep-seated shame of our language so our people will feel the freedom to speak it among themselves and with others. The third speaker said, sell patois. Let me reference my first speaker's point, who stated that we are to market the language. How can we market what we are sharing? How do we package and slap on brand Jamaica when we don't embrace it locally? Thank you. I rest my point.
Thank you very much. We will now move over to Belair High. And I think we have Dinthill from Livingston and Belair from Mangalore. So this is a good mix. Go ahead, please, with your rebuttal.
The proposition stands resolute that this House believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of the patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. Brand Jamaica remains strong and formidable, but troubled. It has untapped potential, but must take advantage of this moment. It must seek to keep pace with its own desire for global relevance. And actively teaching and marketing our patois will do just that. The first speaker said that crime and violence is a bigger setback. But we believe that crime and violence cannot be our biggest setback because the number of tourists entering our country has not declined, even with the increase in crime rates. She also mentioned that this country does not appreciate patois, that patois is inferior and has no prestige in this country. But how can we accept such reasoning when patois is a language? As it is systematic, it has rules and there's mutual understanding when it is spoken in a known context. This negative stigma that you hold about the language exists because of the lack of teaching. Teaching will help to eliminate this stigma. She also said that tourists want authenticity, but how can we give them this authentic patois when they visit if our locals are ashamed to speak their mother tongue? Teaching will help to break this stigma. The second speaker said that Jamaica has bigger issues and that Jamaica has bigger fish to fry. Have you forgotten that Jamaica has debts to pay off? Active marketing and teaching our language, then adding it as part of our product offering could help us to do this as a nation. The issues that you mentioned have not caused a decline in tourist arrivals. Let me redefine setback. Setback refers to being held back from achieving your fullest potential. Not that the thing is not achieving, but it is not achieving its fullest potential. Thus, this can be said to be a setback. We are not saying that the lack of teaching and actively marketing patois is an issue. We are saying that it is a setback that is stopping Jamaica from reaching its fullest potential. The third speaker went on and on about removing seemingly bigger setbacks to boost Jamaica's tourism sector. However, when has there ever been a decline in Jamaica due to these setbacks? We say add teaching and active marketing patois language as part of our product offering, and that it's going to help the tourism sector to grow even more. You say that crime and violence is. The opposition said that the crime and violence in Jamaica is a bigger deterrent to tourists. But this is laughable because research proves, as we mentioned in our speech, that in 2005, the year with the highest crime rate, we also had the highest rate of tourist arrivals. Judges, the proposition this afternoon believes that the tourism sector is doing well, but has been set back because we are not teaching and actively marketing the patois language, making it a part of our tourism product. The sector can move forward and grow exponentially if we tap in a deliberate way into the gold mine in our backyards. And with that, the proposition rests.
Are our students really resting? They're coming with some very strong arguments, and I think our judges will have a very difficult time will now break while the judges deliberate. I will ask Mr. Jaden if he could create the breakout room while the judges prepare their scores.
Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others. For others. As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others. For others, not just ourselves. We learn about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people. A nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices. A nation of many people working as one. A nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve.
Judges, we're waiting on you.
I'm not seeing the link to join the breakout room.
As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others, not just ourselves. We learned about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people, a nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices, a nation of many people working as one, a nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve towards that vision. As children, we were also taught the national pledge, a solemn promise, an undertaking. I would like to believe Sir Hugh Sherlock, while writing this pledge, understood the vision and dreams of our heroes. It's clear being a hero is too much to ever ask any one citizen. Luckily, the pledge does not require heroics of any of us. It merely asks that we honor our heroes by striving to advance our nation and ultimately inspire the world, like they and many Jamaicans have done. It's important we remember those words. These words. Before God and all mankind, I pledge love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. If you are like me, a Jamaican born and raised on this land, maybe you will remember saying those words, singing that song in a classroom or some general assembly. If so, like me, you made a pledge. Somehow it seems like many of us have forgotten that. The crime and violence, the indiscipline and short-sightedness, the corruption, the lack of respect for our beautiful lands we are blessed with, and the waters that surround and nurtures us. We have to do better. Let us honor our heroes so that they would not have sacrificed so much in vain. I hope this video can make a difference to even one soul. If so, it would all be worth it. If you feel the way I do, share it. May my voice become yours.
Welcome back, Jane. Are we ready? Are all our judges here? Thank you very much. And we would like to invite our judges to make the presentation of who the winners are. Today we had our 7th match in our preliminary round, the second to last. We are both closing off preliminaries, and then we will have quarterfinals, and it's face-to-face for semifinals and finals. We had Belair High and Dinthill Technical, and their motion was, this house believes that the lack of teaching and active marketing of Patois language is the tourism sector's biggest setback. Our adjudicators, Ms. Stacey Williams, attorney at law, who sat in as our chief judge, Mrs. Nadine Spence, region chapter chairperson for the GHTA Montego Bay, and Ms. Melissa Terry, Group's Foundation Manager from Chukka Caribbean. We will now spotlight Ms. Stacey Williams to make the presentation on who our winners are. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone. I must first say congratulations to both teams. I think you did extremely well. I can tell that the topic was well researched, and that is very good. So firstly, give yourselves a big round of applause. You did exceptionally well, and I'm so proud of both of you. It was a hard decision, I must say. It took us a bit longer than we would have hoped, but I believe having gone through everything, the correct decision was made today. Before I give you the final results, in moving forward, I hope that these pointers will help you. We noticed that some persons were rushing. When you rush, you can lose your audience. So as you move forward, try not to rush through your material. Also, it is very good when you know the content of your material, because knowing the content boosts your confidence. So you need to take time to practice your material and know your material. Your pronunciation is also key. And we noticed there were several errors, especially when it came to certain words that you are expected to be using daily. So practice that and work on your pronunciation, your gesture, your eye contact. Those things are also very important. And at this stage of the performance, at the presentations, I believe whatever you can build on here will help you as you move forward. All right, that said, you both still did very, very well. You both still did very, very well. The scores were Dinthill Technical High School, 849 total, and Belair High School, 897, making Belair High School the winner this afternoon. The best speaker is Janoya Haynes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and congratulations for the Enhancement Fund, Deja All-Inclusive Resort, the Jamaica Hotel and Tourism Association, Royal and Lux Resort, Pairwalk Restaurants and Bar, Margaritaville Group, Origin Juices, and Starbucks Jamaica. Congratulations to Belair High, who will now move forward to our quarterfinals. And Dinthill, congratulations to you, 849 and 897, a close match indeed. And good luck, Belair High. And your executive director, Michelle Tuller, and along with us today was Jadon Hewitt, production assistant. Thank you.